Um, okay. Talked a little bit about sports. Kind of want to get into some current events. We've had some major events happen in the last week or two.
We have.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna get the major elephant out the room.
Which one?
This whole circus right now.
United Healthcare CEO was was murdered in New York City. Right outside his hotel room in downtown Manhattan.
As Be Real plays in my head.
Um, it's suspected.
Conehead
Um,
chicken hood.
Something you.
Suspected as murderer is Luigi Mangione.
Mangione.
Mangione. He wrote "Depose, Deny, and Deploy" on the bullets
Right.
he used to shoot the CEO.
Right. Cold hero now for some.
Yeah,
Lover boy for some ladies out there.
yeah, he's become a divisive topic for America in the sense that you have half of the people condemning him and calling him a pariah and all that good stuff for the evil acts that he committed, and some people glorifying him and deifying him to a point, and making him a folk hero of sorts. What do you guys think of that dynamic that we're seeing right now?
It's just a sign of the times with social media and everything. It's, I mean, obviously, this it's new, but not really. There's been, if you go online, sometime you'll see on, maybe it's just my timeline, but they'll show pictures of convicts like mugshots, but it's like people are like find them attractive or whatever. So I think that's not really anything new. First of all, God bless.
Rest in peace, Brian Thompson.
Right,
His
and
family.
God bless his family.
Definitely,
a
absolutely.
life at the end of the day, a life was lost.
Yeah.
Whatever side you fall on.
Right.
Murder is wrong.
Right. So we want to make that clear.
However,
I think there's more. I always thought like maybe he had a family member that was denied or whatever. So I'll be interested to see what other information comes in. As far as people being divided, yeah, health care is an issue in this country, and I think this just brought it to the forefront.
Yeah. To your point, P, I think it kind of highlights the issues we have with healthcare. For us being one of the most advanced nations in the world and having the most expensive healthcare in the world. And I think a lot of Americans are seeing that and seeing how healthcare operates in other places in the globe, and how healthcare in other places in the globe is at the very least comparable, or if not better, in some places, and cheaper. And I think part of it is that frustration with that fact, and the fact that, hey, we call ourselves one of the most advanced nations in the world, if not the most advanced nation in the world, a global leader in many aspects, but we're paying the most to stay alive. We're paying the most to stay physically, fit and stuff like that. And I think you see some of that frustration with this situation show itself and whatnot. Yeah, and I think we've gone through the process of seeing health care entities or providers price gouge, make medicines 1,000 times,
more than this.
more expensive than it needs to be. So yeah, I think you see some of that frustration, and with that frustration, I think Americans want something to happen, want somebody to pay for this injustice, and whatnot. And unfortunately, our politicians haven't stepped up to the bat.
I mean, you call spade a spade. I think it's just broke. Healthcare coverage, the healthcare system is broke. I mean, we have, even at whatever side you fall on, let's just say you support the ACA, Obamacare, made an effort to try to fix it, but in it being termed the Affordable Care Act, I think the message was just wrong. And healthcare shouldn't be affordable. It should be mandated to people.
So it's a pseudonym.
Right. You know, like I think they started off that wrong, and just off of that. So when you're dealing with these, again, rest in peace. When you're dealing with these CEOs, let's call it what it is. Healthcare is big business, and then politicians and businessmen that are in cahoots to become rich. It's simple what it is. You have, which is unfortunate, you have a formula to determine approvals for some health coverages. Whistleblowers were saying that people were meeting this criteria. Pain, threshold, life sustainability. They were meeting the threshold, and then CEOs and the healthcare coverage were just passing off to AI. And in these things to AI, they were putting in these terms of deploy, deny. So even if you were getting approved, it was still getting knocked down by these CEOs so not to cover people. So that frustration is going to come to a boil at some point. And now they're saying, like, all right, with Mancione, he had a surfing accident. He had the long screws in his back. He never recovered ever since. The irony is that the kid is from money, and his grandfather's background is investing in a whole bunch of nursing homes. They have a healthcare background. So to see someone who wasn't destitute, valedictorian, Ivy League school, become radicalized, because let's just say what it is. He went off the grid, he came back. Something happened during that time. And to do this, sure, there's more to the story, but there's some sort of understanding of the frustration, not the result, but the frustration. He crossed the line. He said, forget it, I'm not going to listen to my Sigmund Freud, I'm going to go to my animal instinct and say, I'm going to just give into it now. We have that ability ourselves, but we make rash decisions to say we're not going to go with that feeling and say that's not the right thing to do. He gave into it. That's all that happened. He was frustrated. We all are frustrated. We're at work. Some things that happen. We're in pain. I'm in pain. And just to get that letter back and saying, like, I'm in pain, I'm denied coverage. I mean, Blue Cross Blue Shield, right after that, said that they weren't going to allow anesthesia for up to a certain amount of time. The backlash was 2 hours that day that they said, we made a mistake and had to backtrack.
Right, they backtracked, walked it back. Yeah. I mean, and I think to both of you guys' point, I agree with everything you guys are saying. It's just the story is so relatable. Right? It's not talked about as much. Now it is. It's more like in politics. It's something that people run on, but it's not really talked about as much. For instance, I remember, God bless, my uncle passed away, and I remember being in the room, and they had like an itemized bill,
right,
and a box of tissues was like $100. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just I was like very young at that point. I'm just like, what the heck? I was like, no, this is wrong. They're like, no, it's not. You know what I mean? This is the correct price for a box of tissues. Getting charged $100 for the whole insurance thing, whatever. So. So I think yes, it's going to be it's a very divisive topic. It's probably the most prevalent story in the country right now.
I gotta tell people like I stayed in a hotel for $43,000 a day. People say, "Hey, where the fuck are you at?" Monty Moses Hospital, cardiac division.
Right.
So you're thinking to yourself like, I want to get out of here. I want to be as strong as possible as I can, but 4 days, I'm at $200,000.
I think the whole thing pretty much goes around. You have to choose money or health. And
right.
I think that shouldn't be
That shouldn't be
affordable. Like, no, it should be given and granted. Who's going to pay for it? Government.
Right.
Period. That's one thing that y'all should pay for. You don't want tax route back.
Right.
Take some stuff off of. I don't know where you're going to take it off of. An A1 bomber.
Right.
Find it.
Right.
But your people are your biggest commodity. You don't have people, you can't run this country. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. I think just to wrap it up a little bit, I think we've all discussed how, hey, as Americans, we're all frustrated with our healthcare system. I think the major thing is to take that frustration and put it into positive means of action. Hey, be if you feel a certain type of way about the healthcare system, hey, talk to your politicians. Get into the habit of giving them a call or writing them a letter every month, just to discuss how you feel about healthcare, what changes you feel should be taking place. We can't complain about it if we're not ready to speak up about it and make little changes where we can.
That's a good point.
And I think a lot of politicians haven't heard from the average American about how they feel about healthcare and what they want to see happen with healthcare. But yeah, that's my little soapbox moment. Encouraging you guys to speak to your politicians, speak to your friends and your family about talking to politicians about changes you want to see in healthcare and changes that you feel need to happen. Definitely.